Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weird and wonderful world. And today I want to talk about an aspect of being human. Is of course is making mistakes and not being perfect. And sometimes, and I'm going to give you three different areas in my life where I'm not going to be perfect. And as much as I want to be, and as much as I try, I am going to make mistakes. But the point is to always owning up to your mistakes. Never try to make an excuse for your mistakes, and I'm not going to make any excuses for my mistakes. Now, the first part, I want to talk about my YouTube channel here, and that every once in a while I will not be perfect. I'm going to stutter and stammer. I'm going to forget things because I don't rehearse and I don't have a script. I'm going to forget to talk about things here and there. I might even trail off my thoughts here and there, and I'll start a thought and then kind of don't finish the thought. I will continue on a different thought. I'm really trying hard not to do that anymore. I don't like repeating myself. Actually, I'm making this video again because I found that I was repeating myself just a little too much in my last video. So, making mistakes and correcting myself from my mistakes and learning from my mistakes. Every once in a while, I've made spelling errors in my titles and that. And and the point is, and I'll get to the point at the end of the video. You'll understand when I get there. But that's the first area where I do make mistakes, and I'm trying to improve every day. Now, the second area where I make mistakes is at work. Now, like I made a mistake yesterday, as I sometimes do. I don't do it often, but every once in a while, I might miss a parcel that goes by. If you know what I do, I work at a kind of like a factory where I'm what they call a sorter, a line picker. I stand beside a conveyor belt. I look for my product to go by that's going to a particular place, and then I build pallets. That once I get the pallet completed, I wrap the pallet and we send it off. But every once in a while, I will do what they call a missort and stick the wrong package that's going to somewhere else on the wrong pallet, as it was pointed out to me yesterday, a little bit condescendingly, and every time I do one of those and it gets pointed out, oh, you put the wrong item on the wrong pallet. It kind of does bother me little tiny bit, but I don't want it to bother me because it just, hey, well, no, it's going to happen. It happens to the best of us. I've seen other people who think that they're so perfect make the same mistakes, but nobody ever points it out when they make a mistake. They just kind of ignore it, and they don't say anything about it. But when it comes to me, now I've only been there just a little over a year. These other people, they've been there for 5, 6, or more years, and they're much more used to the job. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, I've worked in a movie theater, being an usher and so on for over 10 years, and I've made my fair share of mistakes there too. But I had but my mistakes there weren't so bad or whatever. And they treat it like, sometimes at my work now, they treat it kind of like it's such a terrible naughty thing. Oh, you missed a piece. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and I can only promise to try to do better next time. But I'm human, and it's going to happen. Now, the last area of not being perfect, of making mistakes, and this is a doozy, and this is kind of one that bothered me when it happened, but it's going to be an opportunity to make the picture better in the long run. I was doing a drawing the other night, and I usually I don't trace. I don't like tracing. I will try to do as much of it by hand and give it a unique a uniqueness that's only I can give it. And but every once in a while, I have some tracing paper I use here whenever like when I need to, only if I'm being crunched. But I really hate tracing, and it's not good. But I want to save myself a little bit of time, and so I'm doing this picture for somebody at work. That's it's a picture for the Attack on Titan. I'm trying to draw Levi Ackerman, one of the protagonists of the TV show, of the great anime, and I'm just going to show you. This is how far I've gotten into it, and yeah, the figure, the pose is all by hand, all drawn by eye, and using different references here and there. But the pose is completely done. Like I figured out the pose myself to give it a uniqueness. But where I tried to save time is with the logo on the bottom, and I'll give a little closer look at that. And so what I did, okay, is I used a tracing paper. I search out the logo online. I stick the logo up on the screen there. I will put the tracing paper to it and give it and put it in pencil and put it in pencil onto it, and to trace it and to be able to trace it onto the right direction. I have to kind of when I trace it out the first time, I have to go and on the opposite side of the tracing paper do it again in pencil, because and then you can take the pencil, stick it onto the paper, and then rub the graphite onto the Bristol board, because it's on Bristol board. It's too thick to trace it directly through that. So I have to basically find a way to transfer the logo properly onto the picture. Now now when I did that, I thought I had it right, and I took the and I had because I was doing other stuff with the computer too, and I took down the reference material and thought, okay, I have it here. I stuck it on. I rubbed it in, and didn't I? As you see, I started putting pen to it. I started to put the pen to it, and as I'm putting the pen to it, I'm noticing that something about it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. Not that I noticed like by eye what it was, but I was like, okay, something's wrong with this picture, and I brought up the reference material on screen again, and didn't I do it upside down? That the logo is upside down? Like, are you kidding me? What I did, and I didn't, it's not upside down where I turned the whole thing around like this. No, no. It's upside down because remember, the pencil is on both sides. What I did is I had it upside down. I flipped it up like that so that the point of this Y, for example, is pointing down while it should be pointing up. And I mean, left and right is correct, but yeah, the up and down is wrong. It's when I got to this part here, and I'm like, wait a minute, that little tail should be on below it, and then yeah, and then I realized when I brought back the reference on screen, and I realized, oh gosh, yeah, it was one of those moments where it was a face palm, you know, that I felt it stopped me cold right there. It's like it kind of demotivated me, and I didn't continue the drawing because I would have to basically get another. I have another sheet exactly the same size, but now in order to save me like at least a 40 minutes of work by tracing it and rubbing it on, it's now going to cost me an extra hour and something to be able to take all the image exactly as you see here, except for making this the right way and putting it on a new piece of Bristol board. But even though it's going to cost me more time to do, it is sort of a blessing in disguise, because what it's going to actually help me do is improve on this picture, to make this picture a little bit better. Because when you're doing the penciling in originally, sometimes you have to erase certain lines, and I had to erase. And once you have your pen down and you're erasing some lines, there's some basically a faint indentation of the lines underneath, and me redoing it again the way that I'm going to redo it will actually improve the picture and make it look a lot cleaner and a lot nicer. It will be the exact same picture. I know exactly how to transfer it onto a new Bristol board. But yeah, it's going to cost me a lot more time. And so now that we're at the end of the video, my message is not to let any mistakes or any imperfections deter you, because sometimes it's just a learning process. You're going to learn from it and be better next time. Not to get down on yourself for failing here and there, because failure is a part of growing. And I'm not going to always be perfect. I'm not going to always know the right way to doing things. Like when it comes to every area of my life, I just, all I can do is just hope to improve and do better next time. And yeah, so my message is just to never to let it get you down, to bother you, even though it did bother me a little bit. This is my video to let you know that it shouldn't be, yeah, it shouldn't be, you should just kind of push through, persevere, and not let it get you down. Because it was going to get me down, but I said, you know what, I'm going to take all these mistakes and errors, and I'm going to make a video, and hopefully it will help other people not to be so down on themselves too. So before I ramble a little bit too much today, I do want to do actually another video right after this if I can. So as always, please be safe, take care. I will see you on the flip side, and please everyone have a great day, evening, night, wherever you may be. Peace, everybody.